Hello there, my name is MegaMadVlad, and yes, I'm here to talk about how 2021 may be the year of the backlog. So, what a backlog is, for anybody who doesn't exactly know when it comes to video games, is any game, basically think of like a list of video games that you either couldn't get to when you were younger because money issues or whatever, but you had your eye on it. Same thing like now, like maybe you have money, you can purchase games, but you ended up having to miss one of the games that you had your eye on because you either had to get some other games or you had something else pop up. But it's still there. It doesn't mean that the game is not good and that you don't want to play it, but the backlog means that you can go back and play it. So basically, the reason why I'm saying this is possibly the year of the backlog is mostly because of the fact that a lot of video games, as of recently, have been getting delayed, and a lot of delays. I'm just going to use Cyberpunk as an example. That game was set to come out so long ago, and then it got delayed, and then delayed, and then delayed, and then delayed, and then delayed. But, however many delays it was, I think it was like 3 or 4, God, something like that. But that's just one example. Obviously, that game notwithstanding, with some other issues behind it, the pandemic is a major factor in as why these video games are having some issues with coming out on time. Why games are getting delayed, and a bunch of them are actually getting delayed into next year, for instance, like Hogwarts Legacy as an example here. That game, which I am very much looking forward to after we saw the trailer for it. Oh dear God, it looks so good, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. But continuing with this anyway, before I continue on with that, that game ended up getting delayed into 2022. That was slated for 2021 this year originally. That is just one example right there. There's plenty of other games that are getting delayed, even some unannounced games that are still in the works of getting delayed. So that's not to say that what we have coming out this year right now is it. There are still unannounced games that are set to come out this year, but we don't know what they are. And outside of that, you may have a couple video games that you have your eyes on right now for this year, but how many is that really in terms of the previous years? Like, I can tell you right now, there were so many games I was looking forward to year after year after year, but then this year, for me specifically, it just seems a little barren. And that's because of delays. I mean, that's a point that's going to be getting brought up quite often because of the pandemic and a multitude of other reasons. But continuing with that, like I said before, there are still games that are unannounced. They're still in the works. They're still coming out this year. But however, there's also games that, even though they're unannounced, doesn't mean that they're coming out this year. They may be slated for this year, in the dev side, but they could also get delayed. Same thing with any games that have been announced right now, outside of ones that are probably coming out like next month or something like that. So I will say, for me personally, I have a backlog myself, and to give you some examples, I am a big Fallout fan. So, Nuclear Wasteland, and give me an RPG, and dear God, I am sold. So even though I'm a huge Fallout fan, I haven't touched Fallout. Well, actually, no, I've touched Fallout 1. I haven't finished it though. I have not finished it. So I want to play that, play that through from beginning to end again, and then play Fallout 2 on top of that. But I'm also really interested in Wasteland 3. It's the predecessor. What Fallout was the successor to, sort of spiritual successor, actually. Wasteland is a series I've been looking to get into, and Wasteland 3, funny story here. One of the reasons why I didn't actually play that on release last year was because I thought, I had a few other games that I was playing at the time, but also I did not think that, what was actually going on was in my head right there, I figured I still needed to drop the money to purchase it, and I was trying to weigh that option right there, as well as all the other games I was playing at the time, even now. So then I just 2 nights ago, before this recording here, I went on to Steam to type up Wasteland 3, took a look at it on there, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna purchase this now. Went to the purchase, and turns out I pre-ordered it, and so I already own it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm currently playing through Wasteland 3 at this moment. You should actually have this in the background footage right now. So yeah. And then another example is Mega Man Legends 2. It is a retro game in every sense of the word at this moment, and I absolutely love the Mega Man Legends franchise. There's only 2 of them. However, there is a spin-off game, but dear God, do they have personality to them? I love them. But that is just my example of a backlog right there. There's plenty of other things that could be in your list, and I really say take full advantage of the fact that this year is kind of game dry at the moment. So take advantage of that. Go into your backlog. Just because a game came out last year or 15 years ago doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean there's no reason to actually play that. Pick it up, play it, and just take advantage of the time that you're not spending stressing out over all the new releases coming up. Take full advantage of that, because 2022, that right now is seeming to be booked. But we'll see as we get there as well, because pandemic is still in effect. So things could very well change as we get closer and closer to that. But we'll see as time progresses, and we'll end up having to go from there. So hopefully things end up turning out much better than this year right now, because we're 4 months into this year and it is still kind of dry. We got Returnal coming out next month, and I'm looking forward to that. What was it? Deathloop, another video game I've been heavily interested in, got delayed. I think it's September now. So all these companies that are putting delays into their games, yes, good on them for doing so, because if a game gets delayed, it's going to be better for it, as opposed to if they release it on the first date that they state, not, you know what I mean. And yeah, just I want to play good games. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate you all, and I'll just see you next time. You can find me at MegaMadVlad on all the socials, meaning Twitter. I never post pictures on Instagram, let's face it. You can if you want. And here on YouTube, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'm gonna be having more talks like this, so we'll see what the future holds. Adios.